name is Avita Santana. I am the intake coordinator with LSF Hands of Mercy Everywhere.
Hello, my name is Mona Terry, and I'm the program director here at Hands of Mercy Everywhere.
My name is Marge Felix. I'm the community liaison for Marion County, as well as our volunteer coordinator.
Hello, Candace Jackson, residential counselor for Hands of Mercy.
Good morning, my name is Diane Schofield, and I am the founder of Hands of Mercy Everywhere.
Initially, what I do is I receive statewide referrals all throughout the state of Florida. Our age range for our residents is 13 through 17. So when I'm taking a look at all of the documentation, I'm looking at the young lady's current needs, and then I will follow up with any questions to the placement and the case management teams who have supplied that information. And then once I get those answers back, I further consider a young lady by setting up a Zoom meeting. It's not an interview, it's a meeting where I can communicate information about our program to that young lady and her team, and also allow her the opportunity to ask any questions. I always want to make sure to put them at ease as much as possible with as much information I can provide within a short period of time. And then at the end of the meeting, I always make sure they have my phone number. Their teams already have my email address for any additional questions that young lady might have.
So Avita, how do you decide which house the girls go into when they come to the campus in Bellevue?
Okay, so we have actually 3 houses. We have one dedicated to our maternity teen moms and pregnant teens. We also have 2 at-risk homes, and we break them down by age or cognitive functioning. So one of our houses, Faith House, that has our older at-risk population, which is like, maybe the end of 15 all the way up to 17. And then we have another at-risk house, which is our Hope House, and that's for our younger at-risk young ladies, 13 to maybe early 15. And on occasion, we have siblings that are younger that are considered as part of that sibling group to try and keep them together, because that is also one of our main objectives here.
Awesome. Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that I talk to the young ladies about is how we really want them to be part of a collaborative process with us in determining what services are going to be most beneficial for them in the program, from the beginning all the way out to discharge, and even with aftercare considerations. I let them know that, anything that they let us know about themselves, what we call their SNAP, is going to be something that we incorporate into that individual service plan. It's a person-centered document that talks all about the young lady's SNAP, their strengths, their needs, their abilities, their preferences, and then if they have any expressed interest or goals for the future, that is something that is also incorporated into that individual service plan. We make sure to review it with their team on an ongoing basis, and also with that young lady.
Excellent.
Part of that individual service plan allows a young lady to keep track of all of the support that we've provided to her through services, through activities, through their own requested, needs. And like I said, once again, going back to SNAP, they're able to look at this document and see the progress that they have had in our program. And, I think one of the most important things for our young ladies to realize is that, we do want to hear what they have to say. It's important to us, and we really hope that that is something that they carry with them even beyond this program, is to make sure that they have that opportunity to share their needs and their wants, and things that they are capable of, but might need a little bit of additional help from a supportive program like ours.
Avita, that sounds amazing. We all love that as women, when these girls come in, that they are given that personalized care from you. And I think, Mona, what about in your department? How do you look at it when a new girl comes in?
Well, I think it's fabulous what Avita does at intake. It ties with TBRI, Trust-Based Relational Intervention, in that you're providing them a voice and you're providing them choice in whether or not they want to participate. And that buy-in to our program is so important towards their success.
Absolutely.
In March, you have the girls who, oh gosh, with all their life skills and volunteers that are helping them. How does this relate to your experience when a new girl arrives on our campus?
Honestly, just the excitement of seeing them build themselves up and us prepare and help them with that for what is to come, not just at the present moment, but preparing them for when they do exit and get out into the world, into their own home.
That's a good point, because those couple of years that they're with us go real fast.
They do, they do. They do.
And Candace, boy, you got the hardest part when we're trying to help the girls when they arrive. Very often they don't want help with their mental health, but it's always a very good starting place. Why don't you tell us a little about how you get started with that?
So I like that Avita does a snap because that is quite frankly something that, that is quite frankly something that we do often in counseling because we want them to be able to articulate their strengths, their needs, going back to voice and choice. So working in tandem with Avita with that makes things a lot smoother when starting that therapeutic relationship.
Well, thank you, Avita, for always making these teen girls, whether they're pregnant, at risk of being sex trafficked, or parenting, always feel so welcome when they come to our residential home.
It's important.
I definitely think it's a group effort. I mean, when the young ladies come here, they see all of these strong women from diverse backgrounds, and I really think it's something that they appreciate. And
Agree.
it's much
Absolutely. Something from everyone.
Thank you.
So TBRI is Trust-Based Relational Intervention. It's an evidence-based program based on attachment theory. And all of our staff, from our office manager to our house parents, are all trained in TBRI. It is an evidence-based program out of Texas Christian University, and it's based on 3 pillars of success. The first is connecting, the second is empowering, and the third is correcting. And so what it teaches us is that these young women are coming to us with trauma in their past, and we have to look at them with a different lens. So when we look at our teenagers, be it they're parenting, be it they're pregnant or at risk of sex trafficking, when we look at the acting out behaviors, the poor choices that they're making, we look beyond the behavior at the need for why the young lady is acting the way she is. What need is she trying to get met? And then it helps us be empowered to be able to meet that need. And so there are numerous strategies that we use. One of the best that I think our staff are great at Hands of Mercy is playful engagement. I think the culture has changed some, that our house mothers really have become very playful. And you think, playful? Why would we want to play with teenagers? Okay, but it's so important. TBRI also teaches us through research that we can change behavior much more quickly when we do it through play versus more traditional ways. The other thing is that these kids have had their childhoods robbed from them. And so it's so important that we give them some of that back, and we can do that through play. So our house parents and all of our staff actually have really engaged the concept of being playful, allowing the girls to have redos. You know, hey, let's try that again with respect. We've become really good at compromises. These children have never had necessarily a voice in their childhoods, a say in what happens to them. So we want to give them a voice, and compromise is a really great way of doing that. no, we can't do this today, but maybe we can do something else. And giving them that choice in their life, which is also very empowering. We also know, though, that sometimes, despite our best efforts, we still may have to correct a behavior. And fortunately, we don't see that as often as we once did on campus. Fortunately, our Baker Acts have fallen dramatically since we've implemented it, over 54%, which is great. And our law enforcement calls have dropped. We very rarely see an arrest off of campus as well, which is tremendous as far as our outcomes and the outcomes for the girls.
Right.
But when we correct, again, we're doing it with thoughtfulness. We're doing it to, again, help the girls reframe, what they were doing and why they were doing it. Everything that TBRI teaches us is that we do it through the relationship with the girls. Their trauma is relationship based, and so it's so important that no matter what we do it with that relationship in mind with the young ladies.
So, Mona, when you talk about TBRI, which, of course, that first initial there is trust, what is the number one reason that we find these teenagers having such a hard time to trust another adult after they're placed into the child welfare system?
I think the biggest reason is that their own caregivers, be it the biological family, be it a relative that they may have been placed with early on, has betrayed that trust, has violated that trust, if you will. And so when a young woman comes into the system and is placed in a foster home, is placed in another relative home, or in our instance, group care, why would they want to believe that if my own family, my own, the caregivers in my life who were supposed to protect me didn't, why then would you?
Right.
Which is why we go back to the relationship is so important, to build that, what we call felt safety. And felt safety is so important. We know that on our campus, they're safe. We have security systems and cameras, and all of us have been specially trained to meet their needs, but they have to believe that and they have to feel that in order for them to be successful. And that comes through healthy relationships and having women like ourselves, mentor them and tutor them and be there for them, providing that prudent parenting that we often talk about as well.
And then again, Mona, it kind of goes into, again, preparing them, having them learn how to deal with those relationships and passing that on when they move out and again get into the world and make healthy choices in those
Absolutely. Learning what a healthy relationship even looks like is crucial to their success after the age of 18.
Absolutely.
And Candace, what are some of the things that you have to do here at Hands of Mercy Everywhere to connect that whole TBRI behavioral therapy with what you're doing in the mental health counseling?
Absolutely. As Mona was saying, the relationship, and, it comes from attachment, So when we think about Erickson and his developmental stages, what first came to mind was trust versus mistrust, right? And then we think about ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, and all of our girls score very high on that. So that coupled with, which is definitely a part of TBRI, one of the assessments that's completed, that coupled with developmental stages, especially trust versus mistrust, they were never taught. They were never taught. So taking it back, meeting them where they're at is the biggest thing, meeting them where they're at. And I think it just says it all in the name, Hands of Mercy.
Everywhere.
Yeah, and our team of ladies does a great job with holding that name in their hearts. So, meeting them where they are.
The other thing that I am very proud of that you guys maintain from intake through the whole process that you do is 80 to 95% of the girls all have their own rooms.
Yes.
Yes.
And that ensures their safety
Yes.
and their chance to go and de-escalate, spend some time, whether they're journaling, working on getting some homework done, talking on their phone even, being a normal teenager. And we all know how hard it is when we get kids in our home to maintain some sense of normalcy for them. So I think that's an amazing thing that you all do here.
Thank you.
I think one of the important things that I share with a young lady up front in the Zoom meeting is I share the screen with them so that they're able to take a look at our website so that they can know that they could feel free to browse through, but especially I want to show them what I'm talking to them about. So I show them the interior of some of the houses and they're just like, wow, I get my own room.
With a TV.
Yes, I point that out too.
That works.
Yes, with parental controls.
That's right. So some of the various techniques that we utilize with TBRI are simple. One of the most simple is that we make sure they're hydrated. Hydration is key to a healthy brain. The other is good nutrition. So when they get home from school, we always make sure there's a healthy snack ready for them. We also encourage them to take healthy snacks to school and lots of water. The other key is that we know with trauma, they don't always sleep. Sleep can be very traumatic. They can suffer night terrors and so forth because a lot of their victimization could have come during that time for them. So working with our mental health team to ensure that sleep is something that they're getting and good quality sleep. The other things is we encourage gum. A lot of gum chewing, which you would think on our campus we would not want gum. But we know that from a sensory standpoint, when you're chewing gum, it can help calm. And as you like to say sometimes, Diane, they can't be cursing you out when they've got a lot of gum in their mouth. So there's some validity to that as well. We also do something that we call using an engine plate, and it's just a simple paper plate that we color red, green, and blue. And we check in their engines every day too. How is their engine running? And we know if it's running a little slow, that we can provide a mint or an essential oil to help them kind of get a little more energy, a little more pep. If it's running a little high, that's when maybe some of that gum chewing can come into play. We also love to work with Band-Aids. Kids love Band-Aids. It's like having stickers. So with our Band-Aids, we learn how to give and receive care. A lot of our youth, as we talked earlier, don't know how to give or receive care. So we do things like, do you have a hurt, Miss Marge?
I do.
Is it an inside or an outside hurt?
Outside.
Okay, and then I would take the Band-Aid. Where's your hurt, Miss Marge?
On my heart.
And I would put the Band-Aid on Miss Marge's heart, and that's how we learn how to do that. So we role play a good bit of that in what we call nurture groups, which we do provide to the girls once a week.
Could you and Avita provide a role play for us for a kid that's acting out and a quick house mother response?
I'll move out of the way.
Okay, just picture that I'm in the living room.
Wow.
Hey, how's it going? All right, yeah,
Miss
yeah.
Avita,
Look where I'm at.
Miss Avita, you know you're not allowed to have an open phone in the common areas in the house.
Oh, come on, I'm almost done. Come on, just give me like one more minute. How about that? Hey?
Miss Avita, I can't compromise with you on this one. I'm sorry. The rule is the rule.
No.
You have to put the phone down.
Fine, go to my room.
How about you come back and try that again with respect? Can we do a
Miss
redo?
Mona, can I please be excused to go to my room?
Yes, you may. Thank you.
Excellent. Excellent. Just a do-over. We love
do-over.
yes.
We love do-overs.
We love do-overs. And I love when they're like, what? Do you want to give me another chance? Good job.
Sure. So one of the great things that Hands of Mercy is able to do is provide my services, an on-site counselor. And so with that, that is very unique because the girls have the ability to get to know me. You know, a lot of these girls have already been in counseling and they're like, I'm not doing that. You know, they don't want to talk to you. They don't, you know, the trust versus mistrust, correct? Because they've had adults in their lives hurt them. So having a calm, serene environment, lots of neutral colors where they feel safe and warm, allows them to come in and get to know. You know, I like to say we hold space at first. I'm not chasing the girls down for counseling. I let them come to me. And that way they want it. They have their buy-in. Because we know anytime a change needs to happen, you have to have a buy-in. You know, you have to want to do it. So I think that's the biggest thing with establishing trust with the girls. They talk amongst each other a lot. So word of mouth, you know, hey, you can trust Miss Candace, you can trust, you know, the ladies, the staff here. And that allows them to come in and just say, hey, can I talk to you for a moment? And then they're ready to open up, you know. So having that open door availability for the girls, I think that's one of the biggest things that helps establish trust because they see us here. It has been a great year. We have gotten the clinical department up and running. And one of the great things about being on site and on campus with the clinical department is we have medication management, where we are able to provide on-site, real-time medication treatment for our girls who come in with medications. A lot of times they have, you know, so many that they have to kind of sift through. So we have a great provider that comes on site and helps these girls with their questions. She listens to them. She gives them a choice. She allows them to be heard, what works for them. Is it making them sleepy? How are they feeling? And she, you know, adjusts medications accordingly. We promote actually medication management with our staff because it's so important that, you know, these girls get their medications on a timely manner. And that's one of the things that our staff is doing a really great job with, making sure it's consistent and on time because, you know, consistency might not have been part of their daily life.
So Candace, I agree with you wholeheartedly about our medication management program, and it has been wonderful having you and Nurse Patrita Rosenblatt on property, so work with the girls. The accessibility is fabulous. But could you share a little bit more about the training and cross-training that you and she have been able to provide to the staff?
Absolutely. You know, so working with 3 houses, you know, we've done a lot of work. You know, it's really come home this year, really, if you know, we're gonna be honest. It's really just all come together because we're able to make sure that any staff working any house is properly trained to take care of the girls' needs, from medication management to maternity home to at-risk youth. You know, they are able to be heard and have a solid a foundation, you know, that they can come back to and say, hey, you know, I have these questions about my medication and feel safe about it.
I remember one time when we were all in the office and there was a student who had gotten off the bus and she was only here a short period of time. And I saw her walking from the bus to the home and she was kind of just staggering. And I thought, oh gosh, you know, she doing something she shouldn't be doing. And when I went out there and talked to her and she said, I'm always like this. It's this medication that they make me take. And Candace was able to quickly get her with our ARNP, only to find out that the medication that they had been prescribing her before she got here was much more than the child needed.
Much more, yes.
So I love that we're all here on property and have eyes on those kids to constantly see that ooh, maybe this medication isn't working for them, maybe it's too much, maybe they can't sleep at night, just like you would do in your own house for your own daughter.
Correct.
Yeah.
I agree.
Really sit here and talk about what we're doing. A big part that we do offer here is our life skills for our girls, which includes everything from education, tutoring, obtaining their driver's license, major for being independent, gotta have a license. Also our 10-week trafficking course to make sure we help them to learn how to stay safe, keep their children safe. Our 10-week parenting program that we offer, I think is amazing, along with, most and foremost, when the girls are out with their babies, having that water safety certification is huge. Circling back around to the things we've discussed today, what's really great is having an amazing Google Calendar system that's always updated, you know, with my, taking care of all their medical, dental, eyes, visitation appointments, legal appointments. It's all of us in that calendar, all of our parts, which when again, a girl is ready to leave, that gives them a really good screenshot of what their time was and what they were able to obtain and learn here at Hands of Mercy LSF.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So Marge,
Yes.
in just hearing you speak, it's overwhelming to think how many actual doctor, dentist,
Daily and monthly. And
medical
weekly.
appointments
Yes.
that these young teenage girls would need.
Yeah.
How does that all happen?
It's like magic. That is a huge part of what I work on here at Hands of Mercy is transport with the volunteers. And that's what we look for as almost a constant. It takes really a full-time person every day to get these girls back and forth, because you're going to Ocala, sometimes you're going to Gainesville, Orlando for just a Marriott, and not much time in between. So we really are looking towards our volunteer program to help take care of some of that for us. It'd be a huge help.
And there would be a different level of requirement for a volunteer that worked directly with the kids, right?
That is correct. They'll have to go through the regular training that we go through as a regular full-time employee, and to keep them safe and the children safe as well.
Mona, is there a special background check for that?
Yes, so if a volunteer wants to work directly with our youth unsupervised, they have to complete a level 2 background screening through Department of Law Enforcement and also the FBI, just like a regular employee. But we do assist them with ensuring all of that is taken care of.
Absolutely.
Excellent. So this has been an amazing discussion with all of you, one that we very rarely get a chance to sit around and talk about what we're doing and the growth of Hands of Mercy everywhere and the strategic plan of what we're going to do moving forward. Last year we did discuss very strongly how we saw there was a whole huge gaping hole in the system for the teenage girls that we help. That when they were here and reached 16, 17, what was going to happen next? We found that so many of them were 2 years behind in school. Then COVID hit. That makes 4 years behind. And how many kids that we would talk to and they were 17 and in the 7th grade.
Right.
And it's like, we can't do that. It's not fair to them. There's no way. We need something to raise them up, to give them the confidence to get out there and get a little job or finish school at a different level. So this year, in reflecting back on everything, I think we are most proud of our new learning center, Lakeside, here down the street from our residential group home. I am not aware of any other residential group home that offers this kind of program to young teenage girls. And I'm proud that we were first funded this with a $15,000 check from our First Lady, Casey DeSantis,
Right.
as a faith-based organization and a part of Hope, Florida. So that was kind of like the deposit to give us the incentive to move forward. We had a building, it was empty, and then we got the community block grant. So we're hoping the first week of May that new school will be open, and we will be using that facility as a prep vocational training center.
So exciting.
And the 4 areas we'll work in will be training these young girls how to get their daycare license. We will use the DCF curriculum that they have. Then we will work on CNA and give them a little taste of what the medical field looks like. Teaching them vocabulary, and in the new learning center, we actually have the little glass door when people check in to get them used to greeting people from the community when they come in. The kitchen area is absolutely beautiful, and we will be able to teach them culinary skills. We'll start with basics, so hopefully they can just go and get a job right here in our community. Several of our local restaurants have agreed to hire the girls if they go through these trainings. So, you know, cutting and dicing and learn how to make a pizza, you can go get a little job.
Right.
And then the last one is our hospitality program. And so many of us come from the hospitality background that end up working here at this child welfare center. And I think it's your hearts, and that we want to make people feel welcome. It's almost like running a beautiful hotel, and the girls are our guests, and we provide the meals, and this hospitality little school will be able to teach them how to start with making a bed. We wanted to do a Murphy bed design. We felt that we have the World Equestrian Center, we have several hotels here, that the girls just knowing how to make a bed could support their babies. If they got a job for a big chain hotel, many of these hotels have hotels in other countries. They could work in another country just making a bed. So we thought with that combination, and then teaching them about banquets and maybe doing weddings. They love that. We use that as a summer project for them to plan a wedding as a life skill class. We're hoping that they can get out there, get a little job. There'll be 4 to 5 computers set up in there also, so if they get real far behind in their schoolwork and no chance of catching up, we can switch them over to a GED program with our attention, making sure that we have volunteers that are from the education field that would work with them on helping them get their GED. And then by next year, instead of being in the 8th grade, they could be in their first year of college and have a little job. Our independent living program is set up to help them financially once they turn 18, but they have to have a full-time job, or they have to be going to school, or both, which would be a great combination.
Great, yes.
So I think our new Lakeside Center will be awesome for them, and I'm sure that it will keep us at capacity, Avita. So, you know, you're going to be real busy with all the kids that are going to want to come and stay here as part of the program and take care of all the amazing things that each one of you has put into play that make the whole thing come together to be an amazing residential group home.
Absolutely.
Finally, I wanted to just talk to you guys a little bit and let you know that, you know, as of January 1st, we have completed all our transition, and we are effectively LSF, which is Lutheran Services Florida. We have completed our merge with them. Another wonderful faith-based organization that will enable us now to take everything that we've done here for 20 years and expand it into the whole state of Florida. So I'm really proud to do all this
Great
with
feeling.
each of you.
Great feeling.
I think that
Well, I think we have a really solid team here with LSF Hands of Mercy Everywhere in terms of how we work together as strong, independent women to model that behavior to our young ladies. So they're seeing that professional side of us, but they're also seeing us at times being vulnerable and sometimes sharing our lived experience and our personal stories with them.
Absolutely. And I like what you said about all of us, because the four of us have been sitting here and had an opportunity to talk about our roles. And while those are important, what we do, I think it's important to recognize that it takes a whole village. So it is our 22 staff, men and women, for really to make this work.
And don't forget our volunteers. We couldn't do it without our volunteers.
Absolutely could not do it without our volunteers, for sure.
hardest questions that we can bring up in this topic is that we have a wide array of misconceptions of how these young girls, why, when, where they get pregnant. And I know some of the things I've learned, and I'm going to open this up to you guys to talk about too, is so many of them, when they come here, they are grateful for the chance to parent their child, because that wasn't always an option for a young teenage mother. There were the options that she could abort, or she could place the baby for adoption, but never to teach them how to parent. And I think in all the kids that we've seen here, it's tough. And there's so many times I wanted to just take that little baby, mother that baby to death, but we didn't. We left that good boundary that she knew she was the mom. Because so often, if a grandmother or her mom would try to overtake that and raise the child, she would feel she failed, and hence think about possibly getting pregnant again to say, I'll show you I can do this. I can do this better than the mom who raised me.
Or that didn't raise me. And that's part of the problem too.
I think another misconception is that they know who the baby's father is, and that this pregnancy was wanted, and it definitely could have come from a family member, from a rape. But so many of the kids that we've talked to say, it's 50% my baby. I want to try to parent. And if I fail, I can always ask for advice on how to place the baby for adoption, but I want to give it a chance. I don't want to live with that regret the rest of my life.
And you know, that goes on to the misconception of, these girls are fast, or and somehow, when we talk about adverse experience and trauma that happened, and somehow, they call it upon themselves. So I think taking the time, and kind of the special thing I get to do is actually hear their stories.
Yes.
And I take that very seriously, because anytime someone has opened up their soul to you, right? You have to tread lightly and carefully, because this is their story, and honoring that and helping them move forward in the way that they want to.
Yes.
In a supportive way.
And supporting that they did make a choice by coming here and want to try to raise their baby, which we all know as moms how hard that can be.
Mm-hmm.
But for each of us who had a mom, a grandma, an aunt, even someone next door that helped babysit while we could run to work or whatever, we know what that's like to have empowered women around us, elevate us to do what we thought we could never do. A label on success, we've all talked about this, for the girl is so hard, because for many of us it's just that she made it to 18.
Amen.
Without relapsing, without having another child, without not wanting to take her medications or whatever she had to do. For many of us, it's that they contact us after they leave, right? When they're here, they're like, I hate you, typical teenage behavior. I'm never going to talk to you again. And then at 18 and 3 months old, they were like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I was such a beep, beep. They naturally, as we all know, change between those stages of their brain actually forming from that 18 to 25, and they start to make better decisions, and we hear back from them. I love that. That is one of my favorite parts, and getting those calls around Mother's Day or the holidays that they let us know the kids are okay. And we got a call a couple of weeks ago that one of our first babies born here is turning 19 years old.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's great. That's always a beautiful thing to hear.
Kindergarten graduation.
Yes. Yes.
The real stuff.
Yeah, so, success like that, like you said, Miss Diane, planting seeds, right? So my grandma used to say, just keep living. Just keep living. Stay alive. So when we look at these girls and, they're giving us this hard time while we're here and, they don't want to listen, when they make those phone calls and say, hey, I heard you. I just had a life experience. I heard your voice. I remembered your wisdom, your guidance, that to me is another aspect of success for these girls, when they can say, yeah, I heard you. I didn't want to listen, but I heard you now.
True.
Yeah.
And how many of our donors that come to visit, and they actually now do something in the community for these girls to help them become successful.
Right.
That they, donated a van to them when they went through Keys to Independence and got their license, or helped us with getting them a little job. So now it takes the pressure off of our 22 staff, and you kind of just let them go out into the community, and you watch how Marion County, Lake County, Sumter County brings that success to these kids by offering them a place in that community.
Becoming a part of it.
Yeah.
Becoming a part of it.
For myself, I think the biggest is their relationship with adults. They're able to trust, and they become very playful. I think a lot of that goes back to the playful engagement that we do. And Avita, I think for you may see that the most because of how you do the intakes and they're resistant.
Yeah, at times they can be very curious or have lots of questions, and can be reluctant at times. But it is their choice ultimately, and when they give us a chance and they get here, one of the first things that we do with our young ladies is we're asking them, what do you like to do? What are some things that you have fun doing? What are some things that you're good at? And then pulling from that and creating a platform for them to showcase their potential. And we have fashion shows in the summertime, or some way for them to express their talent to us, to the community. And some of our young ladies have really considered maybe a future profession from some of the activities that they engage with.
Absolutely.
That scaffolding that we provide, I think, is so important to them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, who would have ever expected that Avita would encourage them that they would want to sing in church?
Right?
Right, when they first
Right.
Absolutely.
Or on stage during our play, right?
Absolutely. Well, you know, also I've noticed the confidence that they build as they're here, even coming into the office and they're not feeling good. And maybe it's in not just a medical way or they're feeling down on themselves because of their teeth. They have problems with their teeth. They've not had the dental care, and will come to me and say, "Listen, Miss Marge, I really have a problem," and address it with me. Or maybe it's a feminine issue. They need to see a GYN and haven't had that mom figure to say, "It's okay. Let's talk about it and let's get something set up for you."
Absolutely.
You know, they that builds in them. I see it the longer they're here. So,
And on the mental health side of things, you know, we see that the girls come in, you know, and they have all these diagnoses. And one of the great things about it is when they leave, they know they're not that label, right? You know, they learn how to manage. They get an understanding of what that means. They get an understanding of this is not forever, you know, and you wear it a different way. You know, you understand it a different way. One of our girls, you know, would hoard food. And, you know, definitely coming from a place of, you know, lack. But as she left, she understood it differently. She no longer did that. She no longer was hiding food in her room and cookies under her bed and all those things because she understood that it would be there. And that she was in a supportive place that would not hide it from her.
Same time every night.
Absolutely.
Dinner will be
Absolutely.
served.
There's snacks.
Yeah. They want consistency, you know. And that's
prayer around the table.
That
always helps.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
I think one of the biggest difference that I've noticed through the years is the kids who would come here with all of their belongings, maybe in one garbage bag, maybe in 10.
Yeah.
But as they would stay here, the mission that we had to always start with trying to fill their wallet, buying their birth certificate, their social security card, help them get their permit, eventually their driver's license, that wallet would, you know, give them a stake in who they were and where they were going. And that never, ever, ever would a child leave here with black garbage bags. That between all of us, how many times have you gone home, kids went to camp, whatever, and we've all gotten a piece of luggage or asked a family member or volunteers or donors, what do you need? Luggage.
Right.
You know, we have to make sure that no one ever does that again.
I'm always willing to go pick it up.
Right?
That's right.
I've done it many times.
That's right.